My name is Patricia Daly, and I'm a human geographer based here in Oxford at the School of Geography and the Environment. And I'm a fellow at Jesus College. And it is with great pleasure that Junie, my co-organizer, who seems to is outside, Junie James, who's a community worker with the African, Caribbean and Cultural Heritage Centre here in Oxford. Junie and I welcome you to Jesus College and to the Oxford Symposium on the August 2011 riots. We'd like to thank all those who have helped to make this symposium possible. And I'd like to say quite quickly that until yesterday we had very little money to support this symposium. And I'd like to give thanks the various people for the support. Firstly, the speakers who have given up their time, and some who've waived fees and to come here this afternoon. And I'd still also like to thank Jesus College for the use of the centre, the Office of the Vice Chancellor for coming through at the end, Dr. Stuart White of the Public Policy Unit. Dr. Stuart White is at the back here, and he was one of our early supporters and is providing some assistance towards the running of this symposium. Leila Okai, who's outside helping at the desk, is in the Race Equality Unit here at the university and is very active at the moment in promoting Black History Month. I'd also like to thank the Oxford Safer Communities Partnership for also stepping out at the end to help us. Samantha Palmer for the poster design, and the recording team from Oxford University Computing Services. Well, the riots in English cities from the 6th to the 9th of August this year drew public opprobrium. And while we here deplore the loss of life and livelihoods, we challenge those who seek to silence a more nuanced interpretation of the events. And so why, you might be asking, are we holding this conference in Oxford when the city experienced no riots, only a very minor disturbance? I think a couple of lads tried to burn down McDonald's. From our perspective, however, we have, and certainly I have, personal connections with the riots. I spent my teenage years in one of the estates, which was the scene of the rioting. And I still have family living in the neighborhood. And I move, I always say, from a very privileged environment to a very deprived environment almost on a weekly basis, because I'm involved in the caring of my elderly mother now. And so I get to hear not just what the political elite are saying, or members of intellectual elite are saying about the riots, but also what the ordinary people living on the estates think about the reasons behind the riots. I think both Junie and Junie is a community worker, and both Junie and I have sought through our work to promote better understandings between communities, the communities in which we live. It is our view that the them and us language of the political elite during the riots was divisive, and knee-jerk policies could lead to a deepening of the social divide within our society. So that's one of the reasons why we are organising the symposium. A second reason for this is I think the outrage we felt at the dismissal of a contextual analysis of the riots by our political leaders. London's Mayor, Boris Johnson, said in Clapham after the riots, "It is time we heard a little bit less about the sociological justifications for what is, in my view, nothing less than wanton criminality." We challenge this, as I said, narrow interpretation. And as you probably are aware, the media focused on the damage to private property and sought to pin the blame on individual greed and family dysfunctionality. In this way, decontextualizing the riots from the death of Mark Duggan, the nature of policing, and the social and material conditions under which those affected and involved live daily. As Black people of Jamaican origins, we were also alarmed by the attempts to blame the riots on Jamaican culture, especially language. We seek to challenge attempts by a section of the intellectual elite to marginalize Jamaican culture. And it is fitting, I think, that we're having this debate during Black History or African History Month. Thirdly, we were dismayed by the excessive sentencing that looters received And these suggest to us that laws are being created on the hoof. Such forms of lawmaking, we feel, have no place in a democratic society. As a social scientist and a community worker, we felt that it was incumbent on us to draw attention to those sociological justifications that Boris Johnson dismissed. There are, and I think will be, numerous conferences on the riots, and by organising this one, we wanted to provide a space for black intellectuals, for which I will not apologise, to present their interpretations of the riots, to contextualise the riots in the extensive social science research that they are conducting in a space with the liberal intellectual traditions of Oxford University. We are delighted to welcome a diverse panel of speakers from different disciplinary backgrounds. All the speakers today are grounded in their local communities and are committed to improving the material conditions of life for those communities. They do not necessarily speak with a singular voice, nor do we expect them to do so, nor do they represent the full sum of black intellectual work on the riots. However, we are here today to share our views with you. And this afternoon, the symposium is organised into two panels. It will be near impossible, I think, to separate out some of the themes that will arise in the presentations and the discussions between the panels. But I will be firm in my chairing and ensure that some issues, especially relating to youth, are kept mainly for the second panel. Our aim is to encourage debate on the context, to start a dialogue among black intellectuals and among working people and those who support our cause on how to connect with the youth, how to create and promote spaces of solidarity. By that I mean spaces through which the concerns of the black community and the youth can be heard, and to ensure that black intellectuals play a role in the ensuing responses to further and to prevent further marginalisation of black people. We will welcome contributions from the floor, and as I said, we may not agree, but through our interaction, we seek to push the debate beyond the narrow and vindictive prescription of our political class. Thank you. And as I'm chairing this session, I'm going to begin by introducing our panelists. And our first panelist is Dr. Catherine Nwajiaku Dahu. And Catherine is a postdoctoral researcher here in the University of Oxford in the Department of Politics. She's from Wood Green, where she grew up, and her family still resides, which is, some of you who know London will know it's right next to Tottenham. So she has is quite grounded, as I said, in the communities in which the riots occur. Catherine has been working extensively on a research project funded by the ESRC on multiculturalism and integration in comparing Paris and France and Britain. And she lives in Paris, so she commutes on Eurostar, I think, at 4:30, so we're AM to get to London, Oxford on time. So we're very grateful for Catherine's presence today here at the workshop. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Dr. Catherine Nwajiaku Dahu to talk on the August riots, a political act. Catherine.